to Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Riley Smurl.
I'm Sydnee McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
Well, hello, sisters.
Hello.
It's Halloween season.
Spoopy time.
Do you know what that means?
What?
Nightmare Before Christmas, Hocus Pocus, Halloween Town, The Corpse Bride, Coraline. The 5 top Halloween movies of all time in that order.
Were you just... well, okay. There's a
Not
lot of
scary
issues here,
movies,
but were you
Halloween
just sitting
movies.
there reciting those over and over again and just desperate to say them out loud? Or
Yeah.
Wait, can you repeat that list again?
Did anyone ask you?
No.
It's important.
No, but
Did you
but
just
I just
say, did anyone ask? I am 1/3 of this show.
I'm just saying it was the answer to a question that no one asked.
did
I
okay, wait.
asked it in my head.
Did your list of best Halloween movies ever include the movie Halloween?
No. That's a scary movie. That's not a Halloween movie.
It is both a scary movie and a Halloween movie.
I would put forth that one of the best Halloween movies of all time is An American Scream, which is a documentary about people who make like haunted houses type things in their front yards during Halloween.
Oh, I've seen that. That's good. It's very
amazing.
good.
And it's
Yeah.
not scary, but it is a Halloween movie.
Yeah.
But is it a documentary?
Are you saying that as if there's something wrong with documentaries?
I'm saying that on my list of the top 5 Halloween movies of all time, there's not going to be a documentary.
I just don't know how you have a list of the top 5 Halloween movies and leave off the movie Halloween.
Because
Like,
that's a scary movie.
Especially Halloween 3, when the kids' heads turn into snakes and bugs after they
8
put
more
on
days
the
till
mask.
Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. 8 more days till Halloween. Silver Shamrock. That's the best Halloween movie of all time. What's the top 5 Halloween movies? Halloween 3, Halloween 3, Halloween 3, Halloween 3, Halloween 3.
H2O.
What is he in? Is
Special
he in space?
honorable
Michael
mention.
Myers in space. I don't know. At some point, I could put money on the fact that Jason, Michael Myers, and Freddy have all gone to space, and I don't think I'd be wrong. And I have no factual evidence to know that. I'm just sure. I'm just sure at this point.
Which would be horrifying if that was like a true statement.
That's where they are right now.
Let's stay out of space. They're waiting for us.
No, because you can't kill a serial killer. You just have to shoot them into space.
I will
That's where
tell
they
you,
all go.
We were looking for scary movies to watch with Charlie. Not scary movies, sorry, Halloween movies.
I was going to say,
no, not scary.
Sydnee.
Halloween movies to watch with Charlie, and it's hard to find. Like there's Mickey's Monster Musical.
Do you want to know 5 good
Which is
Halloween
great.
movies to watch with your child?
Okay,
I think
yes,
I got this down.
the ones that you mentioned, I think are great, but not for a 3-year-old because it's
Not
got to.
Three Fist Tim Burton. What are you talking about?
I think Nightmare
Hocus
Before
Pocus?
Christmas and Corpse Bride can be pretty creepy, actually.
That's what I'm saying for a 3-year-old. I'm not
Yeah.
saying like for
Halloween
a
Town?
10-year-old.
Hocus Pocus?
Did
I-
you leave off The Worst Witch?
You did leave off The Worst Witch, which is
I've
the one
never
I
seen that
tried
movie.
because
Automatic
I
fail.
thought The Worst Witch she could handle because even like the special effects and stuff, it's so old school that couldn't be scary. And I was right. She was not scared. She was bored to tears and watched it for 10 minutes and then wandered out of the room.
Oh.
So I know I was so disappointed. We tried so hard to get her to watch The Worst Witch, and she had. So maybe when she's older. We did show her the part where Tim Curry sings "Anything Can Happen on Halloween," and
that is the most important scene in that movie. So
of
that's all right.
course,
Yeah.
of course, and she was not really entertained by that, but she was entertained by how much Justin and I seemed to love it. Like that seemed to pull her in.
Well, I've never seen that movie.
We'll
Well,
show it to you.
I think your list is incomplete then.
The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown was where we landed. There you
yeah,
go. I mean, you can't. There's nothing scary about that.
that's
and
true.
She liked how bossy Lucy seemed. She
Makes
was really
sense.
into that.
Yeah,
Yeah, she dug Lucy.
That makes sense.
can see that.
Yeah. But we're not going to talk about scary movies
Halloween movies.
or
but okay.
Halloween movies because we've talked about scary movies before, and I feel like there's just too much overlap there.
I beg to differ, but continue.
I understand they're distinct categories, but I think that for Taylor and I, there would be a lot of overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would still. I'm not gonna I won't get into the semantics of this as long as we're moving past it, because I have serious issue with the separation of Halloween movies and scary movies.
Yeah.
Scary movies do not always take place on Halloween or around Halloween and have nothing to do sometimes with the holiday of Halloween. Think about the 5 movies I just named. All of those have to do with Halloween time. Right?
Well, I think around
guess
Halloween
the Corpse
time,
Bride
Taylor
doesn't.
and I prefer scary movies, is what she's saying. So
Yeah, like-
we intrinsically link the two.
Like not having the spooky with your Halloween, that's like being the person that hands out toothpaste instead of candy. Like, you missed the point entirely.
Or pennies.
Yeah.
Are you saying I'm the person that hands out apples?
I don't know. Well,
Apples are better than pennies or toothpaste.
I don't know.
I know, I
They
didn't
can
want to be the person
pretty
that handed out
dangerous.
pennies.
Hey, speaking of handing out apples, that brings us to an urban legend.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Hey, that was great, Tay. You set that one up, and I spiked it.
Yeah, I tried.
I think most people are aware that the urban legend of the razor blade and the apple is that
What?
correct. Have you never heard that?
Like putting stuff in candy? Like that you hand out on
Well,
Halloween?
okay, that's the broader urban legend that you've got to be careful when you trick or treat because there are people out there who poison candy. Right.
Yeah, now I see on Facebook all the time that if I get Sour Patch Kids, they're covered in drugs, not like sour sugar.
Covered
I
in LSD.
I love that. I love the idea that there's some drug dealer out there who's like, I'm not in it for the money, man.
I just want these kids to have a trip.
I just want to get kids high. Because, like, you're just giving away your product, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you don't know you're getting high, so it's not like the first one's free, so they'll get you hooked. You're just like, parents are really confused because, like, what's up with my kid? That wouldn't make any sense. It doesn't make good business sense, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sydney is fighting for the economic soundness of drug dealers.
I'm just saying that I can't. That's not happening.
To any of you drug dealers that are planning on covering Sour Patch Kids in LSD this Halloween, Sydney has a better business model for you. You should listen.
You should sell your drugs.
Oh God, guys,
No, wait,
no,
wait.
we don't do this.
No,
We're good influence people.
I'm lying. Please don't sell drugs.
Never,
Please. Unless they're
not
legal.
even once.
Unless they're legal drugs, I guess.
Wait, what? No.
Legal ones.
Don't-
I prescribe drugs.
Well, you all sell them.
Well, no, but someone does. I'm just saying.
Don't listen
like,
to Sydney.
Like, drugs is a broad category. There are ones that are bad, and then there are ones that like keep you alive. So you know.
So
Anyway,
My Sour Patch Kids are going to be covered in ibuprofen.
they crumbled
An
up with Tums
Advil.
all over them.
For when
No,
you get
not my
heartburn
stomach
from all the
acid.
candy.
I'm gonna start putting cholesterol lowering medications in all my candy just for everybody. There you go. Keep your heart healthy. Here.
Just eat one of these Sour Patch Kids every morning. It's covered in baby aspirin.
They're covered in a B complex.
But of course that's one of the oldest kind of urban legends is that your candy is poisoned, and then with that was that if you got an apple you didn't want to eat it because somebody would try to stick a razor blade down in it.
I've
feel
never
like
heard
you
that
would
one.
notice that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean there'd have to be some sort of breach in the apple's skin in
Well, I
order
guess
to
that's-
insert the razor blade.
But you know, I even remember like I don't think it was our parents because our parents were those cool parents, but I think the more traditional parental figures in our neighborhood, it was always like you don't eat candy when you're out trick or treating. You wait till you come home and inspect it all in like full lighting.
That is a lie that parents make up to eat your candy. I can tell you that now because I'm a parent.
And I
We
can
send you out trick-or-treating and say, don't eat it. I got to inspect it so I can take out all the little Snickers bars.
I can second that because when we went trick or treating with Charlie, I said you can't eat it until you get home. And then when I was carrying her bag for her when she got too tired, I was like, what do we have in here?
To be fair, Charlie doesn't like chocolate, so it gets really easy because I can take all the good candy and not feel bad because she's not going to
That's not
eat
the
it.
good candy.
It is.
Well, okay.
We've covered this.
So that I don't remember the exact story, but that's like an urban legend based on I think like a family member who unfortunately once poisoned a kid with candy
yeah.
or something
Right.
like that.
Oh, I heard about that with pixie sticks. They put
I don't know,
poison
but
in them.
it's based on. I think that at one point something similar to this happened, but I don't believe there are any incidences of people like just randomly trick or treating at houses and eating poison candy.
Mm-mm.
Well, I think that's a lot of, I don't know, I think that urban legends, they do that, they grow and they change, and everybody has a friend of a friend that knew somebody that really experienced this, but maybe there's like one small nugget of truth, and it just exacerbates from there, it grows from there.
And
Yeah.
I think urban legends that serve a useful purpose have a tendency to get repeated too, because the idea that you shouldn't just, as a child, you should not just randomly trust every stranger who wants to engage with you or give you things or whatever is like a good lesson.
Yeah.
It's like we kind of emphasize that, like, hey, don't take candy from strangers, except for this one day where you need to go out at night
And ask for
dressed in a
candy from
costume
strangers.
that we can't recognize you.
Explicitly for the purpose of taking candy from strangers.
Yeah, as a kid, that should just be the most confusing thing. Like, what is this? Is this like a gauntlet to see if I survive?
Well, that's like when you should try to get teenagers to not go park their cars and smooching them. You tell them that, like, all the stories of people, teenagers getting.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that's a
Killed.
classic urban legend, is the one where
Guy with the hook.
there's the one with the hook
Uh-huh.
where what's the one with the hook?
There's a hook.
So it's like
Captain
two
Hook.
teenagers, they're mooching, and there's a report on the radio of like an escaped mental patient who has a hook for a hand. I think there's two ways. Like, in one, I think the boyfriend goes out to investigate, and then she hears like the scraping on the hood, and it's his feet on the top of the car because he's been hung above her. There's the
Yeah.
other one where they drive off quickly when they hear like a weird sound outside, and then they find
Uh-huh.
like a bloody hook hanging on their door. So
And
I think-
that overlaps with the one where the boyfriend goes out to investigate, never comes back. The girl waits until morning, and the cops show up somehow, and she gets out, and there's been a dripping sound all night,
And it's
and
his
it was it was the body of her boyfriend hanging above the
Right.
car, something like that. I don't know. The point of
That's
all
to
these
keep teenagers from smooching.
yeah,
in
the
their
point of
car.
all these urban legends is don't smooch in cars in dark country lanes or something.
Don't
I
go
don't know.
parking.
Don't go parking. Don't
I mean,
smooch.
Oh. And I think that maybe you could be in some sort of danger there, but I don't think it's from a man with a hook hand. I
No.
don't think that's happened before.
It's the
I-
danger of transferring of colds because of smooching.
Well, that's a very practical danger, Riley. Thank you. Yes, you can get germs that way from
Yep.
smooching.
That's why we don't want you to do it.
I would say this. We live in West Virginia, and well, Riley and I do. Obviously, Taylor, you used to. And I would advise people, don't go drive down random country lanes and park your car and start making out, because that might be someone's property,
And they'll come out with
and
their
they'll come out
guns
with
and
their
get
guns.
mad.
So and
Right.
it's scary. So in my experience, don't go park on random country lanes if you don't know if it's private property or not. That would be my advice.
You know,
And that's not stereotyping. That's just I've lived here my whole life. I think I mean
It's fact.
I've seen a thing or two.
It's interesting, just sort of thinking through a lot of the urban myths that we grew up with. Said there was a lot around the car, and cars are very dangerous things for teenagers in very real ways.
Yes.
But a lot of then the sort of, the urban legends we had centered around very unrelated to the actual dangerous things that could happen to you in a car.
Like the guy in the back seat.
Yeah. Who does not check their back seat like 20 times every time you get in a car? Because
I do.
Wow.
Have you heard that story, Riley?
I've not heard this story, but I'm always also just scared that there's going to be someone in the back seat.
It's usually, and a lot of these stories are centered around like single females. I don't mean single like romantically. I just mean that she's alone,
by themselves.
a solo female. And the story is that she's driving, and the car behind her keeps flashing their brights at her, and she's getting creeped out, and so she pulls into like a parking lot or somewhere brightly lit and jumps out of the car and starts to yell at the driver, who follows her into the parking lot and parks behind her, and she jumps out and starts to yell because he was freaking her out, and he jumps out of his car and says, I was flashing my brights because there was a guy in your back seat with a knife, and every time he stood up, I flashed my brights to get him to sit back down. And they look in the back seat of the car, and there's a guy with a knife.
I have to call slight shenanigans on that because, okay, I'm going to kill this lady. Oh, no, the lights are really bright. I go hide again. Like, I don't really know.
And like
if
the
that's
slow standing up in the back seat of a car with your knife held out so far to the side of you
So
that
they
the person
can see the silhouette.
can see the silhouette of a knife.
And how oblivious is this woman that it just every time it happens, she's like, what is going on?
Well, and I guess the other part of this is a terrible plan for the murderer, because once you stab her, that car is gonna crash.
Yeah.
And
Now,
so if the murderer knew that, they probably wouldn't care about the bright lights. So
right.
I have some flaws with this story.
Yeah.
But it has been effective, and you're right, making me check the backseat of my car every single time I get in it.
Yeah.
Well,
Even when it's in the garage.
Yeah. And if somebody flashes you from behind, that means you've got a killer in the back of the car. But it's not always good to like, sometimes you have to be wary of the flashing lights, because what does it mean if somebody flashes your brights coming at you, Sid?
Well, it could mean that there's a cop, but and slow down. But what it could also mean, it was some sort of gang initiation thing.
Oh wait, this would, if they were driving at you with no lights on, you would flash your brights to let them know, hey, you don't have any lights on.
And then they would chase you down and kill you because it was some sort of gang initiation. I've heard
Right?
that before. Yeah.
What? So, like, maybe there's some like moralistic or even some like practical safety to some of these, like, hey, don't go park and like make out somewhere isolated. Maybe there's like a good basis to that, even though the legend is kind of crazy and scary. But this one, like, hey, you see somebody driving without headlights on, don't let them know, they might kill you.
Yeah. Which I guess you could make the argument that there's like some racist undertones there too. You're assuming it's some sort of like gang initiation. Like, no, it's just some poor person who forgot to turn their headlights on. Like,
Exactly. Well, that's the same thing with like the person that waits under your car. Really, all of these are car related, and
Yeah.
they're going to slash your ankles. And it was also some sort of weird gang thing.
yes, that they have to wait under somebody's car and slash their Achilles tendon.
Yeah. That horrible image, but also
Which
just,
I do check under my car too when it's been parked outside.
Well, now I'm going to.
What else does it mean when somebody has their brights on, Tay?
No. I think that was the one. Is there another one?
No, I thought that you had another one.
Oh no, that was the one I was thinking of. Where their
Yeah.
lights are off and you flash your brights.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, practically speaking, usually when somebody flashes their brights at you, it either means your headlights are off or watch out, you're speeding and there's a police officer ahead.
Yeah. It's like a friendly thing you're doing, not
Which you shouldn't do, because you shouldn't be speeding, okay? Drive the speed limit. Speed kills.
Okay. Well, I have heard of none of these except for don't smooch in a car because a guy is going to kill you if you do.
well.
These are the most practical. I think there's the one that I think is no longer applicable, which is the old you're babysitting, and there's the call that you get and you answer the corded phone, because this is the 90s and not everyone had cell phones yet. So you answer the home phone, the landline, and somebody's like, you better go upstairs and check on the kids. And you're like, who is this? And they don't say anything, so you hang up. And they call back a couple more times and say the same thing, and it freaks you out. So you call the police, and the police say they're on their way. And then, like, as they're talking to you, they're tracing the call. And then they say, the call's coming from inside the house.
Yeah. And then when they go inside, the kids are dead, and he was going to wait up there and kill you too.
Yep. And the murderer was upstairs all along.
But man, you were a really
Wow.
crappy babysitter for just letting all that go down.
Yeah, and also now there's cell phones, so this could happen.
It's very
Like-
easily happen.
You're telling me there's a call coming from inside my house?
The
Yeah.
call could always be from inside your house.
I mean,
Yeah.
this was also a house with 2 landlines.
That is true.
Yeah.
Unless this killer installed his own landline to pull this off.
The killer is a phone cable installment guy who
Uh-huh.
came earlier in the
Ooh.
week to fix your landline and installed his own landline upstairs to carry out his master
This is
plan.
like one of those crime puzzles. We used to have a whole deck of those where it was solve the crime, and you get to answer questions. You get 20 minutes or whatever. Yeah, this is like one of those.
Person is hanging in the middle of a barn and there's a pool of water, but there's nothing that they could have been hung from. Oh, they were stood on a big block of ice.
There's a big ice cube.
How'd you get that ice there?
And it had to have been the
questions
mailman
now.
because mail doesn't run on Sundays.
Oh, that's so goofy.
Yeah, but it was freaky, and I don't know that there was anything practical from it other than anytime I babysat as a teenager, I was terrified, just generally scared.
Yeah.
And that's the same. Yeah, there was a lot of babysitting based fear. I think I think it still goes on, but definitely in like popular horror movies in the 80s and 90s, you 9 times out of 10, if you were babysitting, you were gonna get killed somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, don't. So I guess the moral of that story is don't babysit, right?
Well, there's a new horror movie on Netflix, if anyone's interested, called The Babysitter. But plot twist, bad guy's a babysitter.
Did you just spoil that?
No, like that's in the description of the movie
Okay.
on
Cool.
Netflix.
Cool.
Don't worry.
That was this is the origin of the Babysitters Club. It was just to combat all these scary movies and urban legends so that
people would keep
so that
babysitting.
teenagers would keep babysitting. They were like, the man's holding you down again, everybody. They were tricking you. They produced the Babysitters Club, whoever the man is. They produced the Babysitters Club. That's not true. I love the Babysitters Club. It's a wonderful book series.
Where were you going with this conspiracy theory? Isn't this Riley's game?
Yeah, Sydney, back off.
There
are no conspiracy theories about the Babysitters Club.
Just to convince young women to continue to be fodder for serial killers with, I don't know, cable access, access to cables. I don't know how telephones work.
The Illuminati.
The Illuminati. Thank you.
The Illuminati did it. They created the Babysitters Club so that we could
Beyonce
continue
and
to wanna
Jay-Z, before they were born,
Yep.
created the Babysitters Club.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Also, they're lizards.
What internet are you reading?
Those are the most popular conspiracy theories, that everyone who runs the Illuminati is a lizard, and also Beyonce and Jay-Z are the leaders of the Illuminati, and their twins are taking over.
I have never heard any of this.
Yes.
If
Lizard
this
people run
somehow-
the country.
If
All
this somehow
politicians are
results,
lizard people too.
If this somehow results in Beyonce and Jay-Z running the country, I'm fine with that.
The world.
That's great too.
I mean, that seems like the better option, right?
Yeah,
now.
all things considered, this sounds great. Sign
Also
me up
Sir and
for
Rumi.
the lizard future.
They're twins.
Oh.
Not
Yeah.
Blue Ivy, though.
Well, I'll vote for this. Do we
I-
get to vote?
I welcome my lizard overlords.
Can we join?
The Illuminati?
Yeah, well,
not how that
I know we
works.
can't join the Illuminati. I just meant when the coup comes, can I just say I'm on your side?
Yeah.
I'm in.
And then
Okay.
Beyonce's like, I'm accepting one person. It's Sydney McElroy. Get in here, girl.
I bet I'd be the one. Like I'm cool enough to hang out with Beyonce. No,
No.
it's okay. I'm not. I know that look was.
I'm not either.
No.
Is
not.
anyone?
No one is.
Jay-Z isn't even cool enough to hang out with Beyonce.
That's fair. Sorry, Jay-Z. Nobody is.
Jay-Z,
we
who
know
definitely
you're
listens to
listening.
our podcast. Sorry.
Absolutely.
Now, Riley, I'm sure there are a lot of urban legends from today's youth. But before we talk about them,
Let's check the group message.
so what do we got this week, sisters?
We have a Jumbotron.
So we want to tell you to visit hswerewolf.com for daily webcomics or follow the comic on Tumblr. And now you're probably wondering, what is hswerewolf.com? Well, sisters, somebody, one of you, tell everybody about it.
Dwayne, Average High School Werewolf, is a daily webcomic written and illustrated by Ron Villano.
Del Villano.
Should have
Should've
looked
read
at the
this
name first.
before.
Sorry about that, Ron.
None of us did.
This comic follows the adventures of a teenage werewolf and his ghostly, magical, and otherwise spooky pals as they deal with the day-to-day stress and annoyance of high school life. Dwayne, Average High School Werewolf, is always free and always all ages. With new comics published daily for over 5 years, what better time to jump in and start reading than the Halloween season?
So there you go. That sounds like right in the mood.
Yeah, well
For this
timed and
time of-
spoopy.
Yeah, for this time of year. So go check it out, hswerewolf.com, or follow the comic on Tumblr.
Yeah. And it's about teens.
Teens and werewolves.
The spookiest
Teen ghosts.
monsters of all.
Ooh. So, Riley,
Yes.
are you? First of all, I have to know like things that have I think endured. Are you teens still calling on Bloody Mary? And
I did when I was little. And there was one where like you pretended to hold a baby and you looked in the mirror and it was dark and like you said a thing and your arms would feel heavy like there was a baby in them.
Ugh. I've never heard that
But
one.
like if you
That's
do it
not-
wrong, like the mom comes and like cuts you on the face
Ah.
because that's her baby.
I don't know this one. I just know the Bloody Mary one where you just say Bloody Mary in a dark
The Candyman
dark
is
bathroom because
yeah.
you always had to go into a dark room where there was a mirror.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a bathroom.
So they just go in the bathroom.
The
and-
Candyman is the same thing. You just go into a dark room with a mirror, so the bathroom, and turn the lights off and say the Candyman.
Mhm.
I guess he comes and gives you candy,
And no,
probably.
no. I think he comes and kills you.
And he probably comes and like gives you, like, I don't know, Mike and Ike's.
I don't think he gives you candy. I think
Are
you
good and plenty.
you got confused on an incredibly important part of that story. The part that separates you from getting candy and dying.
I just figured the Candyman gave you bad candy.
He's not the Great Pumpkin.
he comes and gives you like Tootsie Rolls.
No, wait. Is the candy, because there were the Candyman movies, did the Candyman story exist before that? Or is that's where the origin is just from the movies, right?
From Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
No, I don't think that. You are vastly confused.
Different Candyman.
Yes.
I don't know.
You
I
say the
don't-
Candyman can, the Candyman can, the Candyman can into a mirror.
and then you're in a world of pure
Candyman
imagination.
can.
No, I don't know what the point of those. Like looking back, it was so that either Bloody Mary or the Candyman would appear to you, and they were supposed to be somewhat threatening figures.
So why do you want that?
So why do you want that? Yeah, that's a great question. Why?
For the spook.
Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like, why do we play with Ouija boards when we're teenagers? Why do we do the Bloody Marys and everything? It's scary. It's tempting something that is dark and sort of intimidating to you. Also, I just want to correct myself. Candyman was an urban legend long before the movie. My bad.
And is that so? The movie is just based on the urban legend.
Yes.
That's fascinating to me.
It is fascinating.
Because then you got to wonder where'd it come from.
This is now an episode of lore.
Are there newer ones, newer versions?
Have you all heard of the Midnight Game or the Midnight Man?
Midnight
nope.
Man.
I've heard of the Midnight Society.
Nighttime.
but-
Different thing.
Nighttime Spook Man? Is that what you just said?
I trying to remember what it's called. Something night.
Probably
you guys
not
heard
Midnight.
of the Nighttime Spook Man?
That sounds so scary.
It doesn't sound scary at all.
Basically, I think it's the Midnight Man. You wait until like almost exactly midnight, and there's a whole lot of rules. I feel like with a lot of these games, there's a whole lot of specific things you have to do to make things happen, and then they just don't happen. But you write your name on a piece of paper, and you put your own blood on it, and then you go outside of your door, but your front door has to be wood, and you put it outside of your front door, and you knock on your front door 24 times, so the last time is right at midnight. And then you walk inside and you have a candle lit, and all the lights in your house have to be off in every room, and you're supposed to walk around your house, and the Midnight Man is supposed to be in there. Now I guess you've invited him in, and if he's close to you, it will get cold around you, or your candle will blow out. And if your candle blows out, then you have, I think, 60 seconds, and you can carry salt with you. And if you form a ring of salt around yourself, then you have to sit in that until I think it's 3:33 is when it's over in the morning. So 3.5 hours basically. Or you can light your candle again. But if you don't have time, then you form a ring of salt around yourself and you sit in it and you're safe. And if you don't do these things, your candle blows out and you don't light it again, then he'll kill you. I probably got some part of that wrong. Don't feel any need to correct me if I did. That's basically it.
Okay.
It's a lot of steps.
Yeah, it's
this is
a lot
very
of intricate
complicated.
stuff.
This is enough steps and ritual that I think you probably are actually summoning a demon. Like this is
Well, that's
this is
Yeah,
one
this
man.
sound-
Don't do that.
that's how
sounds legit.
I get scared, because it's like there's no way that's real. There's too many steps. Like, but then you think about it, it's like, what if like you do it, and you do all the steps, and you're like, this is nothing. But then like there's a demon. What if you did it?
And then you get killed.
And then you get killed.
But this also sounds like not a fun slumber party activity, because like that was the thing with Bloody Mary, is that you go in and you start to do it and you freak out and you pull your friends in with you and everybody freaks out, and then someone convinces themselves that they're starting to see something in the mirror.
Right.
And like, but this sounds like something you're supposed
summoning
to do
an actual demon
alone.
Yeah, you can do it with other people, but everyone has to do the same thing. And I don't think you're supposed to talk.
Can you see?
The scariest part of this for me is just walking around in your house in the complete darkness for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, and I bet your parents are not going to be thrilled with that. And also all the little circles of salt, if you and all your friends are doing this.
And like they wake up, they hear something, and they come out, and everyone's just sitting in various places in the house surrounded with salt, crying with burned out candles. Like, what is happening?
This is the worst slumber party ever.
Did this come from the internet? Because I think somebody is just trolling all of teenagedom. Like, somebody made this up just to ruin your slumber parties. And possibly summon lots of demons.
There are just a lot of ones like that where they all start whenever you see the post on Tumblr. It's like, do not try this at home. This will summon a real demon. This is just a informational post about this game. If you're brave enough, do it. But just know you are summoning a real demon.
These are just like angry people who've gotten a lot of prank calls during slumber parties.
Yeah.
They're like, forget this. I'm going to punish these children once and for all. I'm going to create something that's going to scare them.
Maybe it's just a
really
control.
badly.
Just sit in a circle of salt quietly for 3 hours when I'm trying to sleep. That's good. That works for me.
And that won't scar kids for life.
The only way to hide from the demon is to go to sleep at 8 p.m.
There's another one where it's like you take a baby doll and you cut it open
Oh.
and you fill it. You take out like a soft baby doll. You know the ones that have like the soft bodies.
Uh-huh.
You take it and like you take out the stuffing and you fill it with like rice, and then you put like a piece of your hair or something in it, and then you sew it back up with red thread, and you put it in your bathtub, and like you say something to it, and then you play hide and seek with it, and then it's gonna like move all of a sudden, and you're gonna have like a demon baby possessed in your house.
Why?
What?
They've gotten a lot scarier and a lot more intricate, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Don't do any of this.
And
No.
I think it's because the internet, because like think about if you're like in class with one of your friends and they're like trying to tell you about something you do, and it's just like, oh, you go in a bathroom and you say Bloody Mary to a mirror 5 times. Like, you can remember that and you can tell someone that super fast. But then it's like, okay, get out a piece of paper, listen to each of these steps I say, there's like 30 of them, and write them down word for word, and if you do anything else, you're going to summon a demon and you're going to die. It takes you like 30 minutes. But on the internet, you can just write it all out and find it wherever. Like, you don't have to just like tell someone about it. Like, it's not like light as a feather, stiff as a board.
That's really interesting that the internet has facilitated the creation of these really complicated
Demons.
demon summoning rituals for
Yeah.
teenagers.
Well, the internet has also created like lots of its own urban myths. Correct, Riley?
Yeah. I mean, Slenderman.
The Slenderman. Yeah.
The Slenderman.
So that
Who is a slender man.
Which is that guy? What's he in, like a suit or something?
And he has like all, like his body is like entirely like paper white, but he has no face. And his arms are really long. He's very slender.
he just looks like bummer Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
Jack Skellington, but he lost his pumpkin head. He just got a sock now. Like, it's just
Like if you were trying to draw Jack Skellington, but you couldn't get the face right, so you just left him with no face.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
like you used to do for your Disney
Shut up.
princesses.
Oh, haunting faceless Disney princesses. That's an urban legend somewhere out there.
There was a little girl who drew Disney princesses, but never their faces.
And they all came to life because she performed a ritual with dead baby dolls
And rice.
and rice.
Salt. What is the? I mean, is the urban legend of Slender Man just that he's out there
Just
and
that he
sometimes
exists, right?
like they catch him on like security cameras? I
I-
mean, that's all I've ever seen, or like what looks like security camera footage of a spooky dude in your front yard, and then it's like he's gone. And like, I mean,
I'm pretty sure
what's the point?
the origin of Slenderman, and I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong, is it was a photo contest on, it might have been on like No Sleep or on Creepypasta. It was on one of the spooky sites on the web, and it was just to create spooky photos. there was a bunch of pictures that had this horrible figure photoshopped into the back of pictures of kids, and this whole story of how these kids went missing. So it was this thing that would hunt children when they were sort of left unattended. Kind of your classic boogeyman, but I mean, it's a fairly like scary image that they came up with, and I think it just a whole mythos grew out of that. But the interesting thing about this is that we do have that. I mean, those real like those two girls that like attacked a classmate supposedly because Slenderman commanded it. Like, there are people that clearly are terrified of this thing that we have a very real, understandable origin for, like when it was created, totally fake thing. You know, it's strange that it can become so big so fast.
Which is also, I mean, time does that for certain. But the internet can, I think, like you said, do it even faster because there are so many layers between you and the truth if you try to find something out on the internet. And I'm not saying you can't. I'm not saying it's impossible. But I know as someone who does lots of research on the internet weekly for various reasons, I know you get mad if I try to plug a podcast. So I'm not doing that. I'm just saying, as somebody who does a lot of research on the internet, you can find the answers. But you have to dig and dig and dig to find the truth. And if you're not really interested in the truth, if you just want something that will freak you out or make your friends scared or, impress somebody, whatever, it's really easy to, with a quick Google, turn up just some really wrong, really scary information and take that as, that's it. That's the truth. Moving on.
I would recommend Snopes.com. Is that still out there? Because when I was younger, that was always my favorite thing. I would just go on there to scare myself, just to look at all the ones that are true. Like all the green dots and like, oh no, this person actually did eat like spider mayonnaise or something horrible. I think that was a thing. I just started a new urban legend.
Is that a thing?
No, I just started a new one right there.
Is the formaldehyde dress real?
I don't know. I can't imagine.
Who got her wedding dress at a thrift store and then she died because it was imbued with formaldehyde because it had been stolen out of a coffin.
So someone was buried in their wedding dress?
I guess. I don't know the details now, Riley.
I
don't know. We can Snopes it later.
Yeah, I was gonna say all these things should be snoped after this episode.
Snooped?
Yeah.
Snopped?
Schmooped.
We are victims of the culture in which we live. We don't know what's real.
Now,
we try.
There is a very real, scary part of the internet. The dark web.
Ooh.
So this is real.
Sydnee,
and you didn't think it was real. It's definitely real.
I did not know it was real until just now.
Okay, let me say this. I wasn't certain. I wasn't.
Maybe thought there was.
I thought maybe it was real, but I wasn't. I wouldn't know. Listen, the internet. I was not someone who grew up with it. It came to be in my formative years. I am still adapting. I use it now largely for, I don't know, Skyping and recording podcasts, and I don't know about what is the dark web?
It's like hidden internet, right? I mean, Taylor, you probably know more details about it than I do. I just know the idea of it. Like
internet, Sydney will never find.
It's not like something you can easily get to. Like you can't just Google search the dark web and you get to it.
No, you have to download specific equipment to actually
download things.
Reach the thing.
How many people do you think have done that?
Probably a lot.
How to get to dark web? Like, I guarantee you, like on Google.
I'm gonna name this episode "How to Get to Dark Web," so that every time someone looks that up, our episode comes up.
That's a great. That's a great idea. Search engine optimization, right there.
But it is. I do think it's one of those things that, even though yes, it does really exist, it has very quickly taken on sort of a mythic, terrifying proportion in people's minds between like what it is actually and also what might be there.
Yeah.
Right?
It's where people sell drugs, right?
Yeah, it's mostly just like drugs and guns, I feel like.
And Bitcoin.
Yeah. Well, not that's what
Is that how you pay for it all?
Yeah. Isn't that why the value of Bitcoin went down so much is because everyone was using it on Silk Road, which was really popular, like drug trading, trafficking website, and it got shut down. So everyone, Bitcoin dropped in value. I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Well, I do know there are a lot of a lot of like creepypastas, specifically around just the terrifying things I've found on the dark web. And I think it's kind of almost, it's capable of even being scarier than like the urban legends that we grew up with, because you're never going to go there to see for yourself. You'd be dumb to do that.
Yeah. Because I know there's a video game that I've seen online where you play like you're in a separate web browser. Like the game almost doesn't seem like a game within it, because it's just like on the internet, but you're trying to find certain things on the dark web. And but the whole time you're also scared that people are tracking you, because your IP address is on the dark web, and people use that to go kidnap people if they see you're on the dark web also. So like the whole time you're afraid of people breaking into your house and kidnapping you while you're distracted by what's on the dark web.
Is that true?
I don't know. That's why I'm scared about the dark web, because like what if someone uses your, like you just go to look up like what is dark web, and then like someone finds your computer and comes in and kidnaps you. But also like you're trying to find a website code to get into a red room on the dark web, which is where you can see live footage of someone being tortured or killed.
Why do you want to do that?
I don't know, but that's the whole point of the game.
I don't like this game. This is a bad game.
But yeah, you have to visit various dark web websites where there's one where like you can buy drugs, one where you can buy guns, one that's like a cult type website, one where you can hire a hitman.
So it's like collecting Pokemon, but super bad things instead.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really bad.
Like a code from Silk Road, a code from where I can hire an assassin.
That's really scary.
Yeah, it's freaky. And it also seems too real, because it's like it just looks like a regular web browser while you're playing this game. So it's like, what if this is how you get to the dark web? You play this video game and then boom, you're on the dark web.
I do think
Conspiracy.
I'm sitting here pondering this. Like I'm not computer savvy enough to not get a little freaked out.
But I think a lot of the horror that sticks with us, the things that scare us the most, are when horror manages to hijack something that is traditionally a symbol of safety. Like I think that, to me, like the Scream movie scared me so much, and that initial sequence from the first one is so terrifying, because it's taking something that, if you're being attacked by a serial killer, if you can get to a phone, you think, oh, I'm safe, but it uses that kind of as the object of terror. And so I think that the reason that this idea is so scary is the internet is that place where we can go now and be like, is this true? We go to Snopes, we're like, no, that's super not true. But it's kind of taking that and making it the scary place where bad things can get you.
Yeah.
That is true. And then I mean it's funny, because I think like one of the earliest versions of that, like it's an extension of the old email chains that you used to get, which I don't know that you all get those anymore, but it like I feel like when email first became a thing that everyone had and used constantly, your inbox was always full of a bunch of dumb chainmail letters that were like, if you don't send this on to 5 friends, you're going to get killed. Someone's going to show up at your house and murder you, and all these kinds of weird things. And some of them were like supernatural. If you don't do certain things, then
I'd say the equivalent of that
you or whatever.
is like a picture of a spider coming out of a toilet on Twitter. It says, if you don't retweet this in 5 seconds, this is going to happen to you.
Toilet
spiders going to come out of your toilet.
Yeah, like you're going to sit down to like use the potty. And there's going to be a spider on your butt.
Where is this?
Y'all ever been scared of that?
I mean,
no, I have never been scared of a spider on my butt.
I have. I've seen videos of people flushing their toilet before they use it, and a spider comes out of the place where they flushed it and goes into the toilet. Like, comes out like the water tank, like a giant spider.
Yeah, I'm afraid of the happenstance of that, but not necessarily that there's an internet-savvy spider out there that is sending me junk mail.
See if I retweeted it.
Oh, she didn't retweet it. I'm going to come out of the toilet and touch your butt.
Do you want me to tell you, this is true. This happened to me. This is not an urban legend. I did have a spider, a really large one, crawl out of, the hole in the back of your sink opposite the faucet?
Oh, yeah.
Hey,
not the drain,
yeah.
but the little hole in the back for, like,
that you
I guess,
can't see?
the overflow prevention hole. Yeah. I had a giant spider crawl out of that one day. I was standing there brushing my teeth, and I looked down, and I saw the little legs crawl out, and then the rest of the spider, and I was like, no, this is not happening. Am I on drugs? What is happening?
And then Sydney burned her house down, is what she's telling me.
And moved to a new house.
Yeah, when I turned on my air conditioner for the first time this year, 2 spiders, not one, 2 spiders flew out of the air. And I just was like, okay, that's it. I'm Halloween. I'm setting my bed on fire. Goodbye. Spiders have won forever.
But did they lay eggs in your face?
That was the one urban legend that just always terrified me. And I understand on a scientific level, that's not how spiders do. But it doesn't change how terrified. Every time you just had like a real bad like cystic zit, like, but what if it's baby spiders? Oh, please just be acne. Oh, please just be acne. Don't be baby spiders.
It made you thankful when it was just cystic acne. Like, oh, just pus.
You have a really bad breakout. Oh, what if it's all spiders? Just all the time.
Have you never heard that one, Riley?
No.
That was it.
Have you
There's
heard
a
the
big
myth
pimple on
that,
your face and then spiders crawl out of it?
that every person swallows 5 spiders in their sleep a year?
Yeah, that's not true.
Good.
That's
I'd like to think I've swallowed 0 spiders in my sleep.
I'd like to think that spiders are smarter than that. They go, what's
That's 'cause they
going
crawl
on
in your
in
mouth.
here?
That's mainly why it's not true. I've read about this. That's a large part of it. Is like, why do spiders want to crawl in your mouth? Like, why do you think that's where spiders want to go?
It just seems like it's not a, yeah. I'd like to attribute more intelligence to spiders than that. They seem like kind of smart buddies.
What if this is all a part of a new conspiracy theory where if enough spiders build up in your body, they turn into one giant spider that overtakes your body, and then the spiders run the world because we all become run by spiders. I just wrote the next great sci-fi novel.
No, you didn't.
I think this is just like the next generation of Spider-Man that you just came up with.
That's how
Just run by
ate
spiders.
so many spiders.
This sounds like a really bad pitch for the next Spider-Man movie. Like, okay, but what if he looked more like a spider and less like a man?
Oh,
Like,
they've done
Well,
that
I'm
in the
not saying
comics.
you look like a spider. You turn into a spider. I'm just saying like there are so many spiders inside of you that they all like get on each other's shoulders and put on trench coat type deal. Like they get all up in your body.
That
and
happens
run your
sometimes.
body.
Don't you hate that when you get to know somebody and then you discover they're just a stack of spiders? They're just a trench coat full of spiders. I had an ex like that.
Just a trench coat full of spiders.
if we discover that that's what's running the country right now, it would make a lot more
I'd
sense.
be surprised.
No, but I don't think we should really propagate this myth, because then that's going to be the next YouTube challenge. Is all right, guys. I'm going to eat 100 spiders and see what happens.
See if I turn into a spider.
And then you challenge other YouTubers to do it,
there
right?
you
That's
go.
what you do at the end
And
of all
that's how
YouTube
the world
challenges.
becomes run by spiders. Is the YouTubers start doing it, and then everyone starts doing it, and then everyone becomes a spider person.
No, see, all the celebrities are lizards, all the YouTubers are spiders, and then there will be a great war. We are just the small people trapped in the middle.
Between the Illuminati lizards and the YouTube spiders.
Can just want like a sports jersey that says YouTube spiders. We live inside you.
So now, dear listeners, you've heard the truth. We will uncover it for you. What is myth? What is reality? Now you know. Don't worry.
Every YouTuber you're watching is a trench coat full of spiders, and everyone running our world is a lizard person.
The only truly safe place is podcasts. So, there you go.
Stay away from cars forever.
And
Yeah.
smooching. And phones.
And babysitters.
and babysitting.
A nighttime spook man.
And
Yeah,
don't
and-
summon demons because Twitter tells you to. Like, don't do that.
Don't summon demons. Don't hang out in dark bathrooms.
Oh.
Or else the candy man will bring you...
We'll bring you Tootsie Rolls.
Tootsie Rolls. And good and plenty.
Bloody
but
Mary
do
will
eat
bring you a
licorice.
Bloody Mary.
So do that one
Yeah.
if you want that. That's not that bad.
But be careful when your parents demand your bag of Halloween candy.
Because they're just going to eat
Because
it.
they just want to eat it.
They
I'm
like
kidding.
to eat. They eat the razors out of it and then they give it back to you. That's what
And then they give
parents
it
do.
back to you.
They
No,
really just need their vitamins for the day, so they go and suck the powder off of your Sour Patch Kids
That's
because
what
it's
they
just like daily vitamin.
No, I'm kidding. Like, trust your parents and let them check your Halloween candy, but also keep an eye on them because nobody better lay a finger on your Butterfinger.
Oh, okay.
This episode brought to you by Butterfinger. The whole thing. Just one long commercial. It was weird.
For
They gave us
Butterfinger.
free reign creativity.
I know. If
It's
only
not-
Bart
it's not
Simpson could
really.
have joined us.
If only.
He used to do commercials. They used to do Simpsons commercials for
Okay.
Butterfingers.
I see. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
You're welcome. He also said, "Eat my shorts."
Okay, well, I knew that. Now this is just a Simpsons fan cast.
Now, just
The
a
history of
Bart
Bart.
Simpson fact hour.
This episode.
Taylor and Riley are done now. I'm just going to be.
I think he said
Continuing.
cowabunga as well. Or was
Or
that a
ay
Ninja
caramba.
Turtle thing? I don't know.
Are you ready for me to do all of Deep Deep Trouble?
And we're done. Thank you. This was still
The Bart
buffering. Oh
Simpson
no,
rap.
run.
Everyone leave.
This is the new urban legend. Sydney shows up in your room and starts telling you about Bart Simpson if you listen to this podcast for too long.
And start singing you songs from the Simpsons album.
It's the spoopiest
Taylor and I will do sibling rivalry on the
Just
next
go
episode.
into a bathroom and chant into the mirror, eat my shorts over and over again. Sydney
Sydney
shows up.
appears.
Sydney wearing like the pink shirt, blue shorts shows up in your room
With a skateboard.
with a skateboard.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, sisters,
All new things to be
For-
afraid of. You're welcome.
for revealing the truth to our listeners. We don't know what we're talking about with these myths. Don't believe those.
Yeah.
No. But thank you for listening. Thank you to the Maximum Fun Network for hosting our show, and you should check out MaximumFun.org for a lot of other wonderful podcasts. Thank you to everybody who sends us emails. Please send us emails if you have topics or thoughts or comments or suggestions at stillbuffering@MaximumFun.org. You can tweet at us at stillbuff. And thank you to the Novellas for our theme song, Baby Change Mine.
This has been Still Buffering, a sister's guide to teens through the ages. I am Riley Smurl.
I'm Sydney McElroy.
And I'm Taylor Smurl.
I am a teenager.
And I was two.
Eat my shorts.
I thought you were going to start singing Deep Deep Trouble. Like that was your moment. But
And it goes a little something like this.
No, bye everybody.
I opened that.
Baby, you change your mind. Baby, you change your mind. Many times. Over and over again. 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 Over and over again.
Judge John Hodgman ruled in my favor.
Judge John Hodgman ruled in my friend's favor.
Judge John Hodgman ruled in my favor.
I'm Judge John Hodgman. You're hearing the voices of real litigants, real people who have submitted disputes to my internet court at the Judge John Hodgman podcast. I hear their cases, I ask them questions, they're good ones, and then I tell them who's right and who's wrong.
Thanks to Judge John Hodgman's ruling, my dad has been forced to retire one of the worst dad jokes of all time.
Instead of cutting his own hair with a Flowbee, my husband has his hair cut professionally.
I have to join a community theater group.
And my wife has stopped bringing home wild animals.
It's the Judge John Hodgman podcast. Find it every Wednesday at MaximumFun.org or wherever you download podcasts.
Thanks, Judge John Hodgman.
MaximumFun.org.
Comedy and culture. Artist owned.
Listener supported.